Call to order the Finance Committee meeting for Thursday, April 14th. If everyone would stand for the prayer and the pledge. Dear Lord, as we gather here tonight in the approach of Palm Sunday, we just remember the lesson of our Lord who was welcomed as a king in Jerusalem and then so quickly turned upon. We just are thankful for the good times and thankful for the many blessings you bestow upon us. And if we approach hard times or challenged by you, we just ask for your grace and strength and carrying on and doing your will. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Ms. Cinnamon, all members present other than Councilman Thompson, who is working. Chair's additions, I have none. Public comment period reminder, if you wish to speak on any item on the agenda, please come forward and you'll have 3 minutes. And our finance report section, Mr. Mike Eads, Ascension Economic Development Corporation quarterly update.
Good evening, gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, council members. Got a lot to talk to you about. I'll go as quickly as I can. Got the report in front of you. Just a quick recap of some of the projects that are active and pending, starting with the Ormet. Potential reopening of Ormet that continues to proceed. Not here to tell you that it's a done deal, but I think we feel very positive about it, and that there's a couple other things that got to fall into place, but we're feeling good about it. And as you see there, that's 250 new jobs that would come in right handy in this economy. So, also got that second project, what we call EcoTraf, is the sale and reopening, refurbishment and reopening of the Burnside Terminal at Ormet. Got a couple of companies actually looking at that. They would continue to take product, load and unload product for Ormet under a long-term contract, of course, so that plant can remain open. Project Honey. It's a project we've been working on for several months. This company has a contract of sale and on 8 acres in Donaldsonville Industrial Park. The company's in the petroleum products distribution business, and they're going to build a new facility there and put about 8 to 10 people to work. That should be announced, by the way, in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, it has not gone to close yet, but and that, there's two things positive about that. Well, obviously the new company, new job, new investment, but also that would give the Donaldsonville Industrial Development Board some money to work with to make some further improvements on on the park and make it more marketable. And then the last one there, Project Sunday, is a project we've been working on for a number of months. Just waiting on it to announce. It did finally receive there were some financing issues. It does have financing in hand. And I just want to give you a quick update on, I think we fail sometimes to come back and report to you about, what happened to projects that actually were announced. And as you see there, the BASF project that announced, I guess, a year and a half ago, the methylamines plant, that's the $80 million one, is in startup as we speak. So that's positive. Westlake Vinyl, the chlor-alkali plant, which I apologize for my spelling. It was pointed out to me that I misspelled chlor-alkali, but I'm not a chemist. So, it is in engineering, and the plant manager told me yesterday they should begin construction next quarter and start up in 2013. Air Liquide is in the process of adding a third air separation unit down in Geismar. That is well under construction. I'm sure if you've been down that way, you've seen the big cranes and that big piece of equipment that they're erecting down there. And so that's about an $85 million project. Scott's Miracle Grow is well underway and in operation down also in Geismar, and putting a lot of product out. IMTT, the International Matex Tank Terminal, is in engineering, and they will start construction on their expansion in the near future. Your other active projects, so some of these are actually included on your list there. As you see, we have 23 total that we're tracking, representing just under $1 billion of potential investment and over 1,500 new jobs. Our activity level has picked up substantially. Since the first of the year. As you see, we've logged 9 new projects, which is about a 50% increase over last year. I attribute that a lot to the price of natural gas. I mean, it's as low as it's been in quite a while, and that, as most of you know, is a huge driving factor of anything that happens here in Ascension Parish. So there's just a lot of people looking at expanding or thinking about it. We have internal to AETC some about 5 or 6 what we call strategic initiatives for this year. One is our certified sites that we've already done. That was we've got Donaldsonville Industrial Park under our belt, and the next one will be the Point Sunshine. Now, obviously, that's already certified by a third-party consultant, but we're putting it into the state system. They have a different set of criteria. We just have to repackage it. And then we're currently looking at a piece of property inside the city of Gonzales to do that on also. I am going to turn it over now to Deanna to talk to you about business retention and expansion.
Hi, gentlemen. We have a pretty aggressive retention and expansion goal this year. We're planning to see between 50 and 60 companies. We've got a really good start. We visited 21 so far this year. The list is in front of you. I'm not going to read it out to you. We've gotten some pretty good results. We've seen 12 possible future expansions. The total CapEx for that is about $186.5 million, and the potential job creation is around 120. So the good news is that business is doing well. This year we decided to focus on a lot of support industries in addition to the large industrial clients that we usually call on. So across the board, everyone's doing pretty well. The second page, what you're seeing is the results of a survey of public services. This isn't a scientific survey. The last page of our interview is, this list of questions. We asked the executives to rank on a scale from 1 to 7 how they feel about the following things. The first part that's in blue is community services. The second part is transportation infrastructure. And the third part is governmental services. And you'll see that we're ranking pretty high in most areas, except the areas that we know we have trouble. So it's generally been a really positive experience meeting with these existing industries. And our other strategic, or one of our other strategic initiatives that we're working on is seminars and workshops. We have one currently scheduled for May 10th in the city of Gonzales, at the City Room in Gonzales. It's a seminar on how to do business with state and federal government. We've paired up with a group called PTAC. It's the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. They're actually funded by the federal government, and their mission is to go out and to help people learn how to procure federal contracts. And Louisiana Economic Development is also going to participate. They're going to talk to us about some of their initiatives. They have some initiatives to help small business gain state contracts. The Louisiana Business and Technology Center Mobile Incubator is scheduled to be in Donaldsonville in June. They were supposed to be here actually this week, but they decided to push back. And then we have two more workshops on the books for a little later in the year. One is promoting your property and your business for film locations. And then the second is going to be a site location seminar where we're going to invite site location consultants in and work through our real estate brokers. And I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Eads.
If I could refer back to that survey chart just briefly. Again, I want to reiterate what Deanna said. This is not a scientific survey. And so the differences, between the 6.5 and 5.5 is not really that significant. I think the positive thing you see there that almost in every case it's to the right. Those bars go to the right, and that's telling us that our industry executives feel pretty good about being here, and that's what we want to hear. Just a couple of other things. As I've reported to you in the past, we do have an incentives study underway. That study will be reported to the recommendations will be reported to our board this coming Tuesday, and we, from that point, will work with our through Mr. Cluot and Mr. Shake Snyder, who are appointed board members from the council to come to you with those recommendations along with the municipalities. Industrial zoning codes, we continue to work with the Planning Commission and staff to refine those definitions, and I think we're basically through with the definition part. The next step is for us to go on the permitted use tables, add the 2 new categories, and start doing the yes, nos, maybes, or whatever you need to add to that. And that's we're doing that. And lastly, I wanted to give you a status report on when last September you passed the reporting requirements for outside agencies, and I want to give you a status report on that. You see there, we have met with the parish president on 5 occasions since then, and I have the next one scheduled for next Monday. Most of those, Chairman Bell has also attended. Thank you. And we are here to give a report to council as part of our quarterly meeting. This is the second one this year. We've already got the other 2 scheduled. Full financial disclosure. Well, we haven't, our audit, our financial review has not been started yet for this year, but it will be soon. And as soon as that's done and accepted by our board, you will get a copy of that. And finally, we, without question, are in full compliance of all state and federal regulations that we know of. And, I believe that was your prescription for us. So be glad to answer any questions.
Mike, I have one, just a question about with Nucor starting up. Are there complementary businesses or things we could be pursuing on that front that that are, since it's going to be so close by?
I'm glad you asked that, because that's something we're keenly attuned to, and we've actually started the process of. We sent a survey to 11 of our comparable organizations along the Gulf Coast and in Texas and Alabama and Mississippi, who have Nucor facilities, asking, what do we need to do to help our existing industries, in particular, do business with Nucor? Are there certifications? Are they looking for ISO or Six Sigma or whatever that? And we're just now getting feedback from that, and so that'll be compiled and reported, so we can hopefully get. I think our businesses here in the parish are in an excellent position to gain revenue from that, just purely by location. But all we can do to help, and also trying to find how they go about finding their employees and that type of thing, so we can get some people from Ascension Parish to go to work there before St. James does it. Right, say that. But yes,
Councilman Bell?
Mike, not a question, but just commend you and Deanna for this report and a job well done. This is really impressive, our business projects, pending projects.
there's a lot of
Keep up
activity.
the good work. Bill Dawson, keep up the good work on the board.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank y'all.
I failed to introduce, I think everybody knows Bill Dawson. Bill was elected chairman of AEDC at our March meeting, and so he's got a little bit more than a month under his belt. Sorry about that, Bill.
All of y'all got a positive team going, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. President?
I just want to echo that and congratulate Bill on being elected chairman. I know he's hard working already, and been to visit, and I just want to commend y'all on a job well done also. That things seem to be moving in the right direction, and it looks like we're getting ready to just burst at the seams, and some good things are going to be happening and continue happening. So again, thank you all for your work and effort.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Councilman Kluwat?
Yeah, Mike,
Trying to get away.
I tell you what I want to thank you for is what we've been working on for a good while is to focus on the secondary industry and the support industry, and real good on going out and looking at what we got to do to support this new industry coming within our area, and also working with the municipalities within the parish to meet with them and looking at that, and also up and down the river here. That we really feel that there's a, you know that, and I know you believe in, that there's a strong support group out there of secondary industry and support industry, these large industrial complexes, and even to support the municipalities as they grow.
Thank you, sir. we have made a conscious effort to focus on, you know, I won't say smaller companies, but the
Right.
support types. We are required, because we receive Tier 1 money, a little bit of Tier 1 money from the state through BRAC, we are required to call on a certain number of specifically named larger companies every year, so those are always on our list, but we are focusing more on the small to medium support type industries, and most of those firms have never been called on before, so. And it's always amazing, the reception, you know, they don't know who, you know, what you're there for, and then you start talking about, you know, if you're getting ready to expand or thinking about expanding, we can help you get some incentives, and then that certainly gets their attention. So, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Anyone else? Thank y'all.
Thanks.
Okay, item number 6, our sales and use tax report for the month. Ms. Gwen?
Good evening, members of the Finance Committee. You have before you your regular sales tax report, at least the front page. And as you can see, this represents collections for March, which were February sales. And our 3 sales taxing districts, you can see that March collections compared to 2010 March and the year-to-date also. As you can notice, the 3 sales tax districts all experienced positive returns for March. And that was basically due to a very large audit that came in this year also. And there was also a purchase by a chemical company of a very expensive piece of equipment. Other than that, compared to the budget, you can see that we're doing, you know, just fine at this point in time. At 25% of the year, we're above budget on all 3 of our sales tax districts. The Gulf Coast petrochemical industry is predicted to outperform all other chemical manufacturing regions in the United States this year. And that was announced by Dan Bornay, the president of the Louisiana Chemical Association. And of course, one of the main reasons was the availability of natural gas in Louisiana. On page 2, you'll see a different chart, and this shows you the local audits for just the local 4.5% only, does not include the state share. And it's an 11-year history, and if you could go through across the bottom of the monetary amounts, you can easily see the big spike that occurred at the end of 2008. And actually the first 9 years, 2000 to 2008, the average total collections from audits locally were 2.1 million, whereas the last 2 years, the average collection was 5.8 million. So just 2000 to 2010, it upped the average to those last 2 years to 2.7 or to almost 2.8 million. But that big spike that occurred in 09 and 10 in audit collections, together the 2 years represented $11.6 million. So the total for the 11 years collected in audit collections on the local level was $30,600,000. So every year, every month, our sales tax report, that's what we're comparing it to in 2010, that big spike in audits. So you'll see that throughout the year. Our March, the page 3 of the report, this just gives you a quick glance of without audits, and it shows you, the first side shows you, includes audits on the left side, the right side shows you what was collected 2010, 2011 in all 3 districts, excluding the audits. And on page 4, you have your regular pie chart that just shows you on scientific view of where our sales taxes are collected and what sector. And the last page shows you our history chart, and you can see in 2011 in all 3 districts, as it was represented on the first page, they're down just a little bit from year to date in all 3 districts. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Gwen, just curious, well, it's certainly promising news. You mentioned a purchase that was made that was significantly impacted our revenue. What percentage of the growth did that account for versus just the audits and the collections being up?
I think this was like a $4 million, maybe a $3 to $5 million purchase in that range, and it was a piece of equipment, so it was a one-time purchase, and I didn't break it down to percents of the total collected.
Okay. That's a big chunk. Okay, questions for Gwen? Councilman Schexnayder?
Yes, I was just curious, when at the last meeting, there was a statement made about operation going up, a significant amount. What is there causes for that?
Operations going up?
The budget?
Oh, yes, and we have a few comments on the next issue, on the revenue and expenditure report.
Oh, okay. You
Okay.
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 I was just curious what.
Any further questions on this agenda item? If not, we'll move right into that revenue and expenditure report. Ms. Amanda?
Good evening. Tonight I'll be reporting on the 2010 unaudited year-end financial report and the February 2011 financial report. The first report is the 2010 unaudited year-end report. Our total revenue budget for 2010 was $109 million. We received a total of $112 million, which was 2.6% above our budget for revenues. The items highlighted in green were 5% or more below the budget. Road and Bridge was below due to the fund did not need all the funds budgeted from the sales tax fund transfer because their expenses were below the budget. West Ascension, Drainage, and Lighting District Number 1 were a little under due to ad valorem tax revenues, and interest earnings came in a little below budget. The FEMA Repetitive Loss Reduction Fund is a reimbursable grant, and funds were not expended like anticipated. The remaining funds are due to the interest earnings that came in under budget. So that's how your revenues came in for 2010. The next page is your total expenditure budget, and the total for 2010 was $123 million, and we spent a total of $105 million, which was 14.72% below our budget for expenditures. The items highlighted in green were 5% or more above the budget. Sales tax 1 and 2 were over the budget due to the collection revenues. Recreation B is over, but will be reviewed for closing during the audit when reconciled to the West Ascension Recreation Commission funds. So that is how we ended the year for expenditures for 2010. And at this time, I'm going to pass it to Ms. LeBlanc for some additional comments.
Thank you, Amanda. Every government in the United States is mandated by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board to have a general fund. So in reviewing 2010, our general fund ended 2010 5% under budgeted expenditures. And as a matter of fact, all of our funds with parish employees involved ended 2010 below budgeted expenditures. I think our department heads need to be complimented for conservative spending while still continuing to serve the needs of the public. Several new programs have been implemented in the recent years with the goal to consolidate resources to maximize productivity. With the success of these programs, a pilot program began in year 2011, creating a new department in the general fund, and it's entitled Engineering Department. All parish engineering personnel have been transferred to the general fund engineering department, as well as the revenue associated therewith that was paid by some funds. And the involved funds that had engineering costs in them were the Road and Bridge Maintenance Fund, East Ascension Drainage Fund, the Utilities Fund, and of course the General Fund transferred their engineering staff to this other department in the General Fund. Of course, we're very cautious about East Ascension Drainage that operates with dedicated funding. We have established a tracking system that will keep track of all the costs associated with this engineering department to charge back to the funds as the budget proposes. And if the drainage personnel are used on other projects, then they will not be charged for their salaries and fringe benefits. The fund that had the project will pay the entire cost. The new general fund engineering department's expenditures equals $1,186,000. And that is the primary reason that the general fund's expenditures increased by over $1 million in 2011, as well as their revenues also increased by that same amount. And just once again, our primary goal is to consolidate all our resources to maximize productivity. And if you have any questions about that, Ken, I'll be glad to answer.
Yeah, I mean,
Councilman Shakespeare.
that's what I was asking about. I know there was a question. I know they had a lot of numbers that were read out at the last meeting questioning the increase in spending by over $1 million. And in a sense, we've stayed on budget by consolidating. We've maximized the use of our monies, and just a good practices. I know I was questioning how that would come about, and
Right.
I appreciate the answer. And sometimes maybe you can, before making a statement in public, might be able to make a phone call to find out why things happen. And I think it's a pretty good indication that finance department and administration is doing a good job with people's monies. It's very, very hard right now in any government to stay within budget. Look across the country, and I think Ascension Parish has been a model, and there's a lot of hard work in going to that. I want to congratulate you, Gwen, administration, and the council for sticking with that. I think that's a lot bigger accomplishment than a lot of people are giving you guys credit for, so we appreciate it.
And we invite any member of the public that wants to come in and review the budget or some details about it, and they have done it so in the past, and we still, are open, have a lot of transparency with anybody who wants to, or doesn't understand or wants to understand more about anything in our finance department.
Thank you.
I think what sticks out to me the most is just looking at last year, what we brought in, 111.7 million, and we spent 104.7. So that's 7 million that we didn't spend, and that we're being very conservative with, very, very prudent with our money, both in terms of how we as a council decide, allocating projects and spending money, and with the administration and all their efforts and trying to streamline and be efficient and cut expenses. So, any other councilman? No. Parish President.
I just want to say that, everybody's working hard to squeeze a dollar here. I mean, we all kind of look at things from a different perspective, but if you just look at roads that we've done over the past, I guess it's 3 years, the road projects, it's about $14 million total. If you would have added engineering to that, about 10%, that would have been $1.4 million that actually left here, went somewhere else. But this is where we keeping employees working, and we're not just using them for certain projects. We get to use them for a 40-hour work week every week, and we've accomplished the same thing in surveying. Basically, by putting the GPSs on the trucks, we kind of know where people are these days, and I can assure you our production is up. We get calls if somebody stays too long, something. Our supervisors monitor that. I think that was a good move. I think we're just as transparent as anybody. We're more transparent, I think. I mean, the books are open. Anybody can come and look. We give reports. We even report on things that we don't have to report on. And that's why this finance department has done such an excellent job, and won the last 2 years, won the awards that they won. So I feel very, very comfortable with the finance department we have, and I feel very, very comfortable with this council. I know that y'all watch the budget as much as we do, and y'all understand the budget, and we appreciate that. So again, there's a lot of transparency here. If anybody's got any questions about anything on the budget, feel free to call us, public or yourselves, and we'll be glad to sit down and go over it and explain it. Heck, some of that stuff is very, very complicated. You can throw numbers around here and there and make things look skewed, but anytime that anybody wants to know about the finances in Ascension Parish, I'll be proud to show them. I will tell you about when we came on board 3 years ago, we had about, I think it was $2 million in like rainy day fund, and Gwen said that we needed to pick that up because if we were out of operation for 6 months, we wouldn't be able to survive, that we needed about $10 million. So over the past 3 years, you all and finance, we've been able to get the $10 million and have that benchmark there. So in the event we do have a catastrophe or something happen, where we're not collecting as much sales taxes, we do have a buffer zone now that we can go back to. So that's
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to item number 8, our monthly contracts report for the month. If everyone just wants to take a minute to review that.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, do you want Amanda to give her other report?
I'm sorry, I apologize. Yes, let's go back to that. February, yes.
Okay, the second report is the February 2011 report, which we are at 16.67% of the year. Your first page is the total revenues are at 10.59%. On page 2, your expenditures are at 13.13% at 16.67% of the year. Page 4 and 5 give an explanation of the items highlighted in green that are 5% under budget for revenues or 5% over budget for expenditures. Page 3 is a chart that compares the year-to-date revenue and expenditures for operating, which is the yellow bar, and capital, which is the blue bar, to the budget, which is your green bar for both revenues and expenditures. And your last page of the report is a listing of all checks issued in February that were over the $100,000, and the total of these checks were $1,156,747. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay. Any questions on this report? No? Thanks, Amanda.
Okay.
Okay, item number 8, monthly contracts report.
The monthly contract report for March of 2011, Cinnamon has provided to everyone. Want to take a minute to review it and see if you have any questions?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Dempsey Lambert, second by Councilman Bell. Any discussion? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 9, change order number 3 for renovations and additions to Ascension Parish Library, Gonzales Branch for ACL Constructors Incorporated. Angel?
Good evening, gentlemen. Before you have change order number 3 that has a variety of items listed. The largest item was the expenditure on change order request number 19 for over $55,000. That was one of the structural issues that we ran into with the upper portion of the facility. We anticipated that we may run into these type of issues because the building was 30 years old. We're very fortunate that that was the only area that we found some structural deterioration that we needed to address. And at this time, as we mentioned before, the board has reviewed these change orders and has approved it.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Pat Bell. Any discussion? Any opposition? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 10, bid items. Ms. Jenny?
On February 16, 2011, the purchasing department received one bid for CRS2 asphalt emulsion. The bid was received from Asphalt Products Unlimited. After review, the purchasing department and Department of Public Works recommend accepting the lowest responsive bid from Asphalt Products Unlimited.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bell, second by Councilman Johnson. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes.
On March 23, 2011, the purchasing department received one bid for cold mix application. The bid was received from Material Resources Incorporated. After review, the purchasing department and Department of Public Works recommend accepting the lowest responsive bid from Materials Resources Incorporated.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes. Thank you, Joan. Item
On
number
February-
11.
Got one more?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have one more?
No,
Yeah.
No, I only have
We got
A
hazmat
and B.
here.
A and B.
He's about to do it.
Oh,
11.
cool mix, yeah, you got A and B.
Okay, item number 11. That's all we have on the agenda. Okay.
We did both of them. Yeah.
Item number 11, requests for proposal, Joan, for the Hazmat Emergency Operations Plan and Commodity Flow Study.
On February 16, 2011, the Purchasing Department received 2 proposals for a hazmat emergency operations plan and commodity flow study. The proposals were received from Lambert Engineers, LLC, and IEM. After review, the Non-Engineering Selection Committee recommends accepting the proposal submitted by IEM and to authorize the parish president to enter into an agreement for this service.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Kluwat,
Second.
second by Councilman Bell. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes. We will move to item number 12, updated bond rating for Ascension Parish government. President Martinez.
We've discussed this, but we have some paperwork now that, from Standard & Poor's and about public finance, and shows where Ascension Parish, our bond ratings have been upgraded, the parish to a AA minus, and drainage to an A plus. So that's something that we can utilize, and basically with that, it becomes for us as a parish, we have improved credit quality, and we can receive lower interest rates that taxpayers will have to pay on future debt. And also, your government joins a more elite group of governments in the United States in terms of financial stability. So you can't get any higher than AAA, so we're getting close to the high bar, and you know, you all should be proud of that also. So not many parish governments in the state that have a AA bond rating, I can assure you. So again, it's a credit to our finance department, a credit to you guys for being very prudent with the way you spend the parish's money and taxpayers' money.
Okay. Thank you for the update. Any comments on that before we move on? Okay. Our last item is approval of funding to staff the Donaldsonville Health Unit 5 days a week. Mr. Kenny Matassa.
Mr. Matassa, give.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Kenny. Appreciate it.
Good evening, gentlemen. You remember when I came to you and told you that the state had closed the health unit 3 days a week and was only operating 2 days. And at that time, you told me to put a budget together to put it back in full service. So that's what I did. And you see here, we're looking at hiring 1 RN, a health educator, a caseworker, and a receptionist / caseworker. We'll operate it 3 days, and the state will operate it 2. And we'll just go from there, try to, this is for 6 months, and we will regroup with the state after that and see where we stand.
And Kenny, what does this do to your budget?
It's not budgeted.
Not budgeted at all, so this will come out of the general fund?
No, it comes
No.
out of
Comes
health
out
unit
of
fund.
Out of health unit.
They
We have a fund balance.
And basically, we've been meeting at the clinic that's supposed to open over there, and hopefully once they open, they should start building soon. We can transfer a lot of these services to that clinic, and we won't need to open those 3 days. But basically, we want to continue providing the level of service that we've been providing in the past there. And $40,000, it would be an amendment to the budget, existing budget. We don't need to do the amendment tonight. We probably have enough funds in there to work through until probably a couple months, whenever we do the
Sure.
next budget.
Down the road.
So,
Okay.
And the agency that's going to build across the street, she's going to be monitoring this monthly, and in fact, I'm meeting with her Monday, and we'll see how that works out.
Councilman Joseph?
Yeah. As the parish president and Kenny Matanza said, we have been monitoring, and we have been having discussion with the mayor of Donaldsonville and everyone. And also this 2 meal help unit tax the parish have, and it's parish-wide. Unfortunate, years ago, the state, the parish made an agreement with the state to run the one on the west side. So in a way, you know, this is working out, and hopefully the new health clinic, once it's built, it would provide all the services. We can go back to the normal procedure, how we have the west side. The east side is fully manned by this funding. So wish everyone would just go ahead and approve this $40,000 because it is needed. The clinic been barely open right now in the 2 days, and parish president Kenny Matanza and them had been having one worker there for the last month. So we desperately need the other employees there from Mondays, Thursday, and Friday.
Move to allocate the monies for the budget to continue this program for the next 6 months.
Motion by Councilman Schixenheider, a second by Councilman Joseph to allocate the funding to continue this operation as proposed here.
Thank you.
Any further discussion, Councilman Kluwat?
Yeah, Kenny, I guess, you know, everybody knows that we can hopefully look to keep this open, and it'll be a long-term commitment, because what we see in Baton Rouge, we don't see any more money coming down the pipe. All right? So we'll give careful consideration to continuing this service and keeping it up. I'd like to see that.
You see, the building, which was built by the parish, we're already paying the lights, camera, and action, really,
Yeah.
and so this is for employees and a few supplies.
Well, we appreciate your work.
the state also said that we could utilize some of their supplies, that even though they're not going to be there, that they would allow us to utilize some supplies.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very nice of them.
At minimum, and
We
not much.
appreciate
now.
that.
Anyone else? All right, any objection? Motion passes. Motion to adjourn by Councilman Todd Lambert. Second by Councilman Bell.